Harris surge disrupted Trump's strategy. Just over 2 weeks ago, Donald Trump's campaign envisioned a landslide victory in November with a broad national strategy. Now, as they fight a rising tide, after replacing President Joe Biden as the Democratic Party's presidential nominee last month, Kamala Harris's campaign strategists claim they are recalibrating to protect safe states and reducing electoral goals. Top Trump advisors once saw a chance for an electoral blowout in Democratic-leaning states like Minnesota and Virginia, but Harris's rise has caused Republicans to refocus on battleground states like Pennsylvania and Georgia. The race has altered, former president's senior aide Corey Lewandowski told Reuters, although Trump still leads. Many of us wanted to actively challenge Joe Biden. We were proud of our race. Trump and his friends have publicly portrayed Californian Harris as an out-of-touch liberal and linked her to unpopular Biden immigration and inflation ideas. No matter who they face, Biden or Harris, they claim. 9 sources told Reuters that Harris is a harder opponent than Biden, who has been struggling for months with mental acuity and poor poll ratings. The map shrinks, not changes. Now there's no reason to talk about New Jersey, said a Trump campaign member who requested anonymity to discuss internal campaign affairs. 12 campaign officials, advisors, and donors told Reuters that a younger, more vibrant Democratic contender had rallied the Democratic base and generated hundreds of millions of dollars in days, forcing the campaign to find a new strategy. Everyone knows Hillary can win. A senior Trump aide spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss internal deliberations. The Trump campaign maintained its strategy hadn't altered since Harris became the Democratic candidate when asked about a shrinking battleground map. Team Trump has commercials in every battleground state. We have workers in typical blue states like Minnesota and Virginia, Republican Party spokesman Anna Kelly stated. Harris campaign spokesman Omar Musa claimed Trump and Vance were regressing the country, while Harris was progressing. He ignored the electoral map. Reuters Trump sources cited 3 issues: delays in Harris's attack ads, which are crucial for highlighting an opponent's weaknesses, doubts among some Republican leaders and donors over Senator J.D. Vance's selection as running mate, and concerns over Trump tramples his advisors' efforts to define Harris based on her policy positions. Focus groups delayed the airing of anti-Harris ads, according to one source. According to a source knowledgeable about the arrangements, the campaign wanted to know Harris's running mate. Harris named plain-speaking Midwesterner Minnesota Governor Tim Walz her vice presidential candidate last week. May reminder. According to an internal memo from campaign staffer Austin McCubbin shared with senior advisors, the Trump campaign began considering Harris or another Democrat as Biden's successor by late May. Reuters acquired a 12-page letter outlining the Democratic Party's guidelines for replacing a presidential candidate, including Biden's voluntary resignation and an internal rebellion. Response to a Harris candidacy was not in the document. In a note to the press last month, Trump campaign pollster Tony Fabrizio projected that Harris would gain short-term support, but eventually the race would settle out. Harris's honeymoon will end and voters will refocus on her status as Biden's partner and co-pilot, he wrote in the document. The Trump-aligned MAGA Inc. Super PAC prepared a TV ad accusing Harris of hiding up Biden's illness before his departure. It debuted in 4 swing states on July 21, the day Biden ended his re-election campaign. Trump's choice of Vance as his running mate put the campaign on the defensive. The media has slammed Vance for calling some Democrats, including Harris, a bunch of childless cat ladies, a misogynistic term. According to 2 individuals, donors have been calling the Republican National Committee and campaign, worried that Vance is distracting and pulling down the ticket. For sources close to the campaign or vice presidential candidate expect Vance to spend more time in conservative and rural areas, particularly in Rust Belt states like Michigan and Pennsylvania, where his rural roots and concerns about industrial decay are more likely to resonate with voters. Vance attended press appearances near Harris-Walz campaign events in Wisconsin and Michigan this week. Trump attacks Harris and allies. Trump also name-calls Harris instead of discussing her policies. Trump has pelted Harris with personal insults. That campaign drew negative attention to Trump, not Harris. Trump questioned Harris's race at a National Association of Black Journalists gathering last week. Harris's mother is Indian and her father is Jamaican. A Republican contributor, a pro-Trump super PAC operative, and a Trump-supporting union head said it confused and scared donors and aides. 3 days later, Trump assailed Georgia's Republican governor, Brian Kemp, during a rally, potentially alienating a popular figure in a battleground state where Trump may need voter turnout. Trump has also been posting lengthy messages on his Truth Social app, including one on Tuesday about Biden returning to the top of the ticket. As polls showed Trump leading Biden in competitive states in the spring and summer, the former president held events in safe Democratic territories like Minnesota, Virginia, and New York City to widen the electoral map. Donald Trump returned to campaign in Georgia on Saturday, where polls suggested Harris's arrival narrowed the race. Mark Rountree, a nonpartisan Georgia pollster, predicts a close race, with Trump holding a slight edge mainly to black votes. According to AdImpact, Trump is outspent in battleground states on campaign commercials.